4 weeks ago, I posted a video about aging in midlife. It was such a well-received video, and so many of you women said, "Thank you for making this. I feel seen, I feel heard." So today we're gonna go a little deeper. 6 reasons midlife homemakers are running on empty. Is this just it? Or is there something we can do to get our sparks back? If you're tired, and I don't mean the kind of tired where it seems like just one good night's sleep could fix it. I mean the kind of tired where even if by some freak chance you do get 8 hours, you still wake up like you never laid down. Hear me on this. This is not a discipline problem. 33 years of homemaking, 20 plus years as a wife and a mom, 6 kids. 2 adult kids, 18 years homeschooling. Right now, I'm also overseeing the running of our homestead on a mountain, and I'm running a business as well as homemaking. And I'm not telling you all of this as credentials. I'm telling you because I live inside this exhaustion that I think many of us women are dealing with. Most content on this topic hands you 3 or 4 surface level reasons and calls it done. But it rarely goes deep enough for the homemakers doing extra, doing all the other things like maybe running a business or helping their spouse with theirs, homeschooling, homesteading, working, raising a larger family, or just maybe a smaller family, but you've got things going, other things going. And most content doesn't speak to women from religious backgrounds carrying beliefs about what a good woman is supposed to do and what that role is supposed to look like. So right now we're going to start with the loudest reason. And we're going to start with it because it's not talked about enough and nobody warned us about this. Perimenopause. Most of us midlife women are in it, approaching it, or wrapping it up. It's the loudest thing happening in our bodies right now. Now, for some women, it might not be the biggest reason we feel this way. For others, it may be the only and life overtaking reason for why we feel tired. Now, perimenopause is so much more than hot flashes. It's brain fog that leaves you standing in a room with zero idea why you walked in. It's your brain flatlining mid-conversation with your child or your spouse, or maybe a coworker. It's sleep that doesn't restore you, no matter how many hours you get. It's weight gain that just kind of came out of left field when nothing about your food changed and nothing about your workouts changed. See, nobody warned us about this. This was a taboo subject growing up for all of us. And one day it hits us. There's a shift. It's like puberty in reverse. It affects our mood, our memory, energy, sleep, emotional regulation, and it affects all of it all at once while we're still expected to run a full household and keep all of the things going. So our first thought when this happens is not, "Oh, I'm going through a known biological transition." It's, "What is wrong with me? Why can't I keep up like I used to?" And so then we think powering through is the answer, but that only makes it worse. We need to embrace that this is biology and it's heavy and it's stacked on top of everything else we're already carrying. Now, for some women, it's not that bad. Some women don't notice it. But some women, they have the rug physically and mentally pulled out from underneath of them to the point that every day is a struggle. Most women are affected on some level that is not wonderful. The topic of perimenopause is not taken seriously. I think part of the reason for this is I do think that the whole transition has become a lot harder on women. I don't think 300 or 400 years ago it was as difficult as it is today. I think we all know that rising health challenges are off the charts, and perimenopause is one of those areas that is affected. It's affecting our generation, I think, a lot harder than it did the previous generations. And here's the thing. Annual global research funding for perimenopause and menopause sits under $3 million. In contrast, for ED, which is a condition that affects roughly 18 to 24% of men, it's around 2.8 billion. Think about that. Perimenopause affects 100% of women, but not just us women. It affects our spouses, our families, our children, our households, our work. So the research imbalance kind of tells you exactly how our culture values the aging woman. It's a slap in the face, honestly. And our own silence on this issue is not helping anything. Landmark surveys show 73% of divorcing women point to perimenopause symptoms as a factor in their marriage ending. I'm really thankful to see more resources, even focus on the family, starting to address this most important topic. So there is reason number one. Before we move on, we do need to take a moment and thank the sponsor that made this video possible for you today. And it's a sponsor I am really, really loving lately. Not just me. My kids are loving this. I'm loving it. It's made a big difference in our home. When today's sponsor contacted me about what I'm about to show you, I was pretty excited because I had already been eyeing these and wanting one. This is the Air3L Revive R800 5-liter kitchen composter. Oh my gosh, this is really cool. Look at this. It's genius. If you've done much research on composting, you know just by looking, this is brilliant. Here are a few key features that really stand out. First, it has a 5-liter capacity, which is quite large and can handle several days worth of kitchen scraps depending on your family size. One feature I love is the biocompost mode. It's fast. It transforms food scraps into nutrient-rich compost. Another really neat thing is the odor control system with a biodegradable carbon filter and airflow design that keeps kitchen odors under control so you do not smell a thing. Seriously. I love that this reduces the volume of food waste by up to 90%. And honestly, one of my favorite things about this is how much time it saves. Instead of managing a messy compost bucket that always stank or spending extra time dealing with food scraps, we can simply add them to this and let it do the work. When you're finished, it has a self-clean mode, so cleanup is really simple and easy, and you can get it ready for the next batch with little effort. If you choose to use the Wi-Fi feature, you can also earn carbon points through the app and redeem them for things like filters and compost starter if you would like. Now, I'm going to level with you. As a from-scratch cook, this composter has been such a welcome blessing to our household. We are using it every week, every couple days. It's fast, saves time, and we really love it. The best part is that we're able to take those food scraps and turn them into something useful. My houseplants are thriving. They were really needing more compost, and I love that I can create nutrient-rich compost to use in my garden or around my plants instead of just throwing those scraps away or waiting months for them to become compost that I could use. If you would like 20% off, be sure to use my code MMH20. I'll link to where you can get it in the description box below and pinned comment. Let's get into reason number two. We were trained to be nice girls, good girls. We were trained to carry everyone else's weight first. Generation X, all of us are midlife women now, we were called the slacker generation. And it's almost funny if it wasn't so sad. Most of Generation X is now caring for aging parents while raising their own kids. There was a study done that said that most of Generation X has at one point helped support their parents at some point in time. Before my husband and I married, we were part of that class. We spent years helping support the families that we grew up in. I supported mine until I was 25. I was unmarried, no kids yet, supposedly into care for years, but they were not carefree. I wasn't hustling for my future and career. I was carrying weight, family weight. Now, I'm not looking for sympathy. It was a choice I made. But a lot of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Illness, addiction, divorce, split so many families in half, starting in the late 60s and into the 70s and going into the 80s. And this caused pressures and weight that in a more ideal world would not have been ours. And then we went straight from growing up like that to becoming wives and mothers, and our baseline had already been quietly reset. We'd learned early that we were the ones who needed to handle things. So now here we are, decades later, exhausted. Some parts of us aren't even giving ourselves permission to even feel the exhaustion or name it clearly. And there's so many things we're carrying that nobody ever asked whether it was actually ours to carry, including ourselves. So what can we do about this? Well, I think that some of us may need therapy in order to firmly establish what is ours, what is fair, what is ours to carry, and what are we supposed to be perhaps asking others to pitch in a little bit more with. Raise a hands here in the comments. How many of you have said yes to things you did not want to take on? Maybe a church activity, maybe a field day project. I think us Gen X women are some of the worst about boundaries and saying yes when we really want to say no and really need to say no. All right, now we're going to get into reason 3, which is kind of a long one, but bear with me here. I think it's going to resonate with a lot of you. Many of us are working 2 jobs, no shift, and we have guilt on top of it. So, okay, some of you might not be running 2 jobs. Maybe you're homeschooling. Please listen to me. Homeschooling is pretty much a full-time job in itself. Believe me, I know. I've been homeschooling for not going on 18 years. But whether it's that or it is a business or a job, many of us have more than one thing happening. That's the point. For some of us, it's a homestead. Some of us, it's a business. Some of us, we're helping our spouses with their business. But the fact is, most of us are not just doing one thing. We're doing 2 jobs, and there's no shift between them. And on top of it all, we have this underlying feeling of guilt, which is absolutely exhausting. Here's the thing, Gen X women, we were raised to reach for the stars, to be overachievers, whatever that meant for you. Maybe for you it was a career, maybe it was homemaking. Maybe we were just taught to give what it is we put our hand to 150%. So a lot of us are doing exactly that, and we have been doing exactly that for decades. But we're not doing that with just one job. We're doing it with 2 or 3, multiple. We're doing it with the home, the family, the parenting, the homemaking itself, the job, or whatever it is that we've got going. And if it is a job for many of us, you know, that's something else that is not even a choice in this economy. And here's what makes it worse. We already have the guilt feeling, but then there's judgment from the generation before us, which runs both directions. Half say, well, you should have gone full career, or if you did go full career, they're like, yeah, good job. But then the other half, they will shame on any woman who goes to work or has work. They'll say, well, that's the husband job. The judgment is brutal either way. And I want to say that I firmly believe there's grace here and there's balance. We're going to start with a Proverbs 31 woman. She was industrious. She left the home. She bought a field. She took her own merchandise to sell in the markets. On the other hand, we also have the Titus 2, which tells women to be keepers at home. But look closely. That instruction is written specifically to women with children. And I also want to say this. That Proverbs 31 woman that we all look up to, I do not believe she was doing all of the things at the same time. She wasn't having babies, nursing a newborn one week, and then hauling merchandise to the market the next. That is not practical. It's not grace-filled. I think Proverbs 31 is a picture of a woman's whole life over a period of time, different seasons, not everything happening all in the same day, all at once. Here's the practical truth. In this day and age, a lot of families, they can't get by on one income, especially once the kids hit their teen years. Anybody know what insurance costs once you've got a new driver in the house? Dang. Ouch. And braces? Double ouch. Medical needs that pop out of nowhere. A lot of the women judging other women for working haven't gotten to the stage of having older kids yet, teenagers, or even large families. Living on one income when your kids are little, it looks completely different than living on one income when they're teenagers, and especially if you've got teenagers and a large family. It also sadly looks a lot different than it did in the 70s and 80s. And I've done other videos on this topic that you can watch. I will try to remember to link to them in the description below. But quite bluntly put, anybody that says, oh, it was the same for women back in the 70s and 80s, is not looking at the numbers, not looking at the data, and, well, quite simply put, is just really out of touch. So a lot of midlife women are working part-time or full-time. They got something going on to the side, and they're running the home and the family, the kids, parenting, and they're carrying a lot of guilt about it right along with a paycheck. Now, for others, of course, the second job isn't a paycheck at all. It's homeschooling or homesteading, caregiving for a parent maybe, or helping their husband with his business. It's the same stacking, just different names. Either way, we're not running one operation. We're not doing one thing. We're usually doing multiple things, balancing multiple things, with no shift change between them. And the guilt, riding shotgun, the whole way is exhausting. Reason number 4 is the never-ending list. Every homemaker at every age knows this one in her bones, but it hits different here. The house, the meals, real scratch cooking is hours, not minutes. The errands you don't just make, but have to confirm and follow up on. Gosh, making appointments for just one kid takes like 15 to 20 minutes. Remembering everything for everyone, always. I sat down a few months ago and wrote out every task that was being defaulted to me, and there was 80 separate tasks. And underneath that is more guilt, some voice saying, you should be able to handle it. Or, in my day, my kids didn't even have chores. Or, the opposite. Or, other people have real problems, so I have no right to be tired. How many times have we all told ourselves that? Your exhaustion doesn't need to be the worst exhaustion in the world to count. It's kind of death by 1,000 paper cuts, and death by 1,000 paper cuts is still death. The 5th reason is we're measuring ourselves against a picture that was never real. So a lot of us grew up with a picture imprinted deep. The spotless house, the dinner exactly on time, a woman who never looks flustered. Maybe it came from your mother, your church, or a certain aesthetic that is online and being pushed nowadays and held up as a standard that every woman is failing to reach. But the good women, we will reach it, right? Every day, your real lived-in home doesn't match that picture. Some part of you registers that as a failure, even while you're still genuinely doing the good and faithful work. So let me just say, you don't need a Pinterest home. You need a peaceful one, a life-giving one, and one where there is some production happening. And that 1950s trad wife you're comparing yourself to, remember, she wasn't homeschooling. She wasn't homesteading. It's not even an apples to apples comparison. The 6th reason is we were never given permission to stop or taught how to stop. Now, I was not a latchkey kid. I was homeschooled and raised in religious circles where the trad wife ideal was taught in classes at church. Working outside the home was discouraged. So was building anything of your own. Underneath it ran one quiet lesson. A good woman gives and gives and gives and never asks for anything back. And this was framed as virtue. And women were praised for this. But nobody taught any of us where the line was. Nobody taught us that even Christ withdrew from the crowds to rest. So we internalized that saying no was almost unladylike and unholy and not nice. So if your worth got tied to how much you could pour out and how little you needed back, sit with this. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you were never trained to put anything down. A lot of us are still waiting for that permission, but it's never going to come unless we give it to ourselves. If you find yourself in this reason, I want to tell you about Beauty from Ashes. It's only $67. It's a course I made on unlearning the trained behaviors underneath the overwhelm. I will link to it in the description below. So moving forward, can we get our spark back? I believe so. I think that there are 3 steps that we can take that will definitely help. Number 1, we need to define our priorities. Without them, we're a ship with no destination, tossed with whatever wave shows up. So for me and my husband, our goals are God, each other, family, stewarding our home, and everything else is a subcategory. So write your categories down, write your priorities down. Number 2, give yourself permission to stop doing everything at full capacity. You need a functional home, not a magazine one. I stopped folding pajamas, socks, underwear, towels. If it does not need folding, it does not get folded. You want structure for this? Meet my free resource, Time Redeemed. It's a free resource, 20 to 30 minutes. It's linked below. It will help you cut out your overwhelm load fast. The third is to reclaim your rest as a command, not a prize, not a reward, not a luxury. God rested on the seventh day on purpose because he knew it was important. And we need rest. So put it on the calendar and protect it, like your kid's doctor appointment. Don't spend it on laundry catch-up or dishes. And during your regular days, build small breaks into them. If you had a job outside the home, you would have breaks inside of your day. So start giving yourself breaks at home too, in your homemaking, midlife homemaker friend. You're not lazy and you're not falling apart. 6 real legitimate things are stacked on your shoulders right now, and it's time we stop pretending that they're not there. So if this was you today, tell me which reason hit hardest in the comments. And if you know a woman in this exact season, send her this video. She probably needs to hear, this is me today too.
Chop more these for me.
One of them.
It's a doggy level.
People often think soup is only for the winter time and the fall, and maybe early spring. And I understand why that thought process is there, because those are the months where it's cool and we want something warm. I get that. But here is the thing that so many people don't realize. Soup is wonderful year-round, not only because it is affordable and frugal, but soup is so chock full of nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and in the summertime, when it's hot out, our body loses those more quickly. So, for example, if you're out working in your garden and you're sweating, your body is losing minerals. And this is why soup is wonderful year-round, especially in the summertime for nutritional purposes. The Instant Pot really does do a spectacular job of making chicken broth or any kind of broth with bones. Looking at this, I can see though that we got probably most of the good cooked out of this, but not all of the good. And the way that you can tell is, do you see how there's still pieces of cartilage here? When you see these clearer looking pieces of cartilage, and I can see there's connective cartilage in here too, there's still more we can get out of this.